What you need to know when buying a historic property. NAR has put out a new consumer guide about buying historic properties. Like most of these guides, this is oriented primarily toward residential um, real estate, but we'll go through it and we'll see. We may make some comments and see, but I think a lot of this may also apply to our commercial properties. But let's jump in. Consumer Guide Buying a Historic Property. From architectural character to lasting craftsmanship, historic homes offer one of a kind charm, but they also come with unique responsibilities for the owner. Here are a few of the things you should know before buying a historic property. First, what qualifies as a historic property? A home is typically considered historic if it is at least 50 years old and has maintained its architectural integrity or cultural significance, although the exact definition varies depending on location. It may be listed on the National Register of Historic Places or be part of a locally designated historic district. These classifications may affect what types of renovations are allowed and can influence how the property is maintained or marketed. Are there restrictions on renovating a historic home? Yes. Local preservation ordinances may limit changes to the home's exterior and, in some cases, interior architectural details. Similar to living in a homeowners association, you may need approval from a historic preservation board, a local government body tasked with identifying and protecting historic properties in your area for work like replacing windows, repainting the facade, installing solar panels, or adding square footage. It's important to research these requirements early, preferably before entering a contract or during the contingency period, to avoid unexpected limitations or delays. What should I look for during an inspection? Older homes often come with age-related issues. Common concerns include outdated electrical wiring, older plumbing systems, inefficient insulation, aging foundations, and possible lead paint or asbestos. Hiring an inspector who specializes in older or historic properties may help identify necessary repairs and potential safety upgrades. These all become vital steps in preparing for home ownership of a historic property. Can I make modern upgrades to a historic home? Yes, though upgrades should be approached carefully and may require local review. While internal features like HVAC systems, smart thermostats, or energy efficient lighting can often be added without issue, exterior changes may need approval. Keep in mind that these upgrades can be costly, especially if historic materials or skilled labor are required. For qualified individuals, renovation financing programs may help defray these costs. Are there financial incentives for restoring a historic home? Many cities and states offer financial incentives for preservation, such as tax credits, grants, or low interest loan programs for restoration work. Properties listed on the National Register of Historic Properties may also qualify for certain federal tax benefits. Consult your state historic preservation um, office or local planning department for details. What are the ongoing maintenance considerations? Historic homes may require more frequent upkeep using period appropriate materials such as wood siding, lime based mortar, or slate roofing. Like renovations, repairs may take longer or be more costly due to the need for specialized contractors or materials. Maintaining detailed records of updates and repairs is often required for compliance and helpful for resale. How does buying a historic property affect insurance? Insurers may consider historic homes to be higher risk due to their age, unique features, or specialized repair requirements. You may need to purchase a policy that covers full restoration with historically appropriate materials. Compare quotes and work with an insurance agent experienced in historic home coverage. Practices may vary based on state and local laws. Consult your real estate professional and or an attorney for details about state laws where you are purchasing a property. Please visit facts.realtor for more information and resources. And so this again was oriented primarily toward residential properties. And while I can't say that the specifics all completely apply to commercial properties, I would say that the general ideas of that do. A lot of times, I know here in downtown Louisville, we have a lot of historic buildings downtown, and there are restrictions. A lot of those are considered a historic district, and so there are restrictions on what you can or can't do. A lot of them, it's trying to maintain the historic character of the buildings, especially on the exterior. So, for example, some of these things have windows that are maybe 100 years old. And there's no question that in terms of energy efficiency, it would probably be a good idea to change out some of these windows, but that would require special permission. Most of the time, that will not be allowed just because it could drastically change the historic character of those buildings. And so, one of the other things about historic properties is they are expensive to renovate. If you're trying to preserve the historic character of a building, it is a lot more expensive to do that. And so I think lots of times we think that that's one of the problems you get into. For example, with we see a lot of things that the office buildings are not as utilized as they used to be. There is a lot of extra inventory of office properties. And one of the things that is frequently suggested is, well, we should just convert all this to residential. Take these older buildings and instead of them being empty because they're older and nobody wants to buy the older office buildings or use the older office buildings, change them into residential and make it, I think that we always sort of have this idea of the cool lofts, which have been done, which are really, they're amazing. They're really cool kind of properties. And I think that people kind of think, oh yeah, we can just do that. But actually doing that is very expensive. Think about the fact that for a residence you need to have a lot of plumbing because you have to have bathrooms, you have to have sinks, you have to have kitchens, you have to have all those things, and it means that you have to almost completely redo the interior of those buildings. And working around the existing structure is sometimes super expensive. And quite frankly, oftentimes it is maybe cheaper to just demolish the building and start over and build a new building where you don't have to work around everything. And so that's one of the things. There have been estimates in the last few years. There have been a number of studies of trying to redo office properties for residential use, and the overall consensus is that really is probably only a realistic suggestion for maybe 10 to 15% of the office buildings. The rest of them, it would be so expensive that it just really doesn't make sense. And when you start getting into those things, if you just think about that, if it doesn't make sense for a developer to do it, well, how are you going to do that? And that's where you almost have to have some sort of government program with tax incentives and things to make that, to tip the scales. And right now, that's a lot of those things just don't really work. So that's one of the things to think about with historic properties. They can be so cool, but they are expensive, and they're expensive often to renovate, and often they're more expensive to keep up. And sometimes that's worth it. I mean, sometimes you have the really, really cool spot. You don't mind that at all. And there are people who really like that, who are willing to pay a premium to do that. But it's not for all properties. So anyway, that is our consumer guide on buying historic properties. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you know someone else who might really benefit from this, maybe you can share it, or maybe you can like it. And if you like these kinds of videos, you might even subscribe to our YouTube channel and kind of keep up. Also, if you have questions about real estate or other things, you can send me a comment in the comments, or you can reach me through my website. I'll also put contact information in the description below. And I think that wraps it up. I'm David McCoy here in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm licensed in Kentucky and Indiana as a real estate broker, and my company is Otimo Properties. Please reach out to me if I can help you, and have a great day. Thanks, everybody. Hopefully, I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.